That's all we are. We're just open chugs, dude. Like, if anyone wants to cover Bridewell right now, like, open chugs. Like,
Hey.
that's it. But, I mean, I don't know. But, like, that's just the way I've always liked it. But I also like a show that's ran very tight, so we have a time set and everything, so.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Breakdown, Episode 3. Today, I have got Patrick from Bridewell on, and we are going to be talking about the history of Bridewell, how it came about, the EPs they've released, and more on just the Birmingham local music scene in general as normal. Patrick, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, dog. Like, immediately, like, when you hit me up, dude, like, I was just like, let's go. Let's go. 100%.
All right, so let's get this out of the way real quick. Give me the outside the venue intro. Describe Bridewell in one breath.
One breath. I don't know, like, okay, so, like, whenever I first started, like, getting ideas for, like, certain songs, I mean, a lot of, like, the riffs, like, because the very first song that, like, I always tell people it was Growing Pains, but technically the first song that we recorded was Scrounger, because my buddy, my best friend Daniel and my other best friend Lito, that, like, they were up there in the studio with me up at Kevin's up in Athens, and whenever we started recording everything, that, like, they were up there, you know, hanging out and just kind of hearing the process and everything. And then, like, you know, that's kind of how Daniel got pulled into it, you know, because we've been doing music together for a while. But with Scrounger, that, like, it started with that. And a lot of it, man, was just, like, recycled riffs that I hadn't, like, used, you know, like, it was just stuff that, like, I had been sitting on where I was just like, I could turn this into something, like, you know, as far as, like, you know, with all the different bands that I drew inspiration from to write some of those riffs and everything, like, it was just a matter of just, like, taking that step. And that was probably, like, end of 22, probably.
Okay, so that's really cool. It leads me into the next question. I was going to ask how did Bridewell form? Was it friends first, music first, or what? It sounds like you had some of the music first, but when you were first putting the band together, and I know it's gone through a lineup change or two overall, but yeah, how would you say the initial Bridewell formed? Was it friends first, the music, or what?
Yeah, no, like, I mean, it was definitely something that, like, I just initially started for sure. Like, I, you know, was, like I said, like, I had all this stuff that I was sitting on, and I didn't want any of it to go to waste. And then plus two, that, like, we had kind of stopped doing some things at least at the time when I started, like, recording this stuff. We had stopped doing stuff with Rumors and stuff, and, like, and that band's still there. We're just kind of, like, on, like, a brief hiatus kind of thing right now. But like, whenever we, you know, started doing it, like, I started writing everything. And then that's whenever, like I said, Daniel, he came along, and then Bill, like, and again, like, I've known Daniel and Bill, I've known them, like, since, like, we were in high school, like, you know, like since we were kids.
Long time friends.
Yeah, and so with us knowing each other for so long, you know, and I hit up Bill, and Bill, like, he'll even tell you, like, he doesn't play metal. Like, he doesn't play metal, like, you know, and, like, because, you know, I know that the closest thing he's gotten to as of late is listening to, like, Bill Murray, because I feel like that kind of combines two of his loves, because, you know, it has a little bit of that, like, country twang almost, like, in the songs, and, like, and I just know what he listens to, but no, it's like, I hit him up, I was like, yeah, man, come on, and then, of course, Aaron, you know, whenever we first started, that, like, you know, he was in Rumors, and so it was just kind of like, you know, that was just a very easy, like, hey, man, come on, like, let's do this kind of thing. And, you know, and then whenever we did the video, like, whenever we got everything, like, debuted on that first EP, when we did the video for Scrounger, that I honestly think that Lance, like, he just took that thing and ran with it, because, like, we were even talking about when we got done with that video, like, he was saying, he was just like, guys, I don't think I'm going to do anything better than this video right here. Like, this, and, like, I love you, Lance. I'm also trying not to cuss. I don't know if I can cuss or not. Yeah, okay,
yeah, we're good.
Well, it's just, like, just bottom line, he was just like, fuck, this shit's gonna fucking pop off. And, like, and we've gotten so many, you know, positive feedback and everything from that video. But as far as, like, how everything started, like, that's kind of how it went. And then even, like, you know, when we went to Anger Poetry Part 2, a lot of that was also, you know, kind of, like, stemming from early riffs and stuff. So
that's really cool. And what you were saying about guitars, like, that reminds me a lot of Lamb of God. Like Randy Blythe will tell you, like, I'm not a metalhead. Like I don't like metal, and you're the lead singer of one of the best modern American metal bands, and he's like, no, I like old school punk. I'm a Bad Brains fan.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's just like, it depends on you as a person as far as like what you listen to outside of like what you actually play, like whenever you're doing shows. Cause I mean, I listen to like a lot of like hip hop and rap and stuff like that whenever I'm not listening to like hardcore. Hey, so,
I mean,
each their own.
Each their own. When it comes to Bridewell, has it always had, I like to say, I think y'all do have a very unique sound. The way y'all use tracks and yours is clean, like everything's tight, everything sounds good, and it's got a very unique sound to it to my ears. I really like it. Was it always like that, or has it evolved and like become tighter as y'all went on as a band?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So as far as like, I don't know, like I've always liked, that kind of sound where like putting different elements into metal that is not necessarily something that you would produce live, unless that like you have like someone that can play like synth leads and stuff like on a keyboard or something like that. But
right.
Like for like what we're doing though, since a lot of it is done a certain way in the studio and we want that same replication live, that, we are like, as far as like how I've done things in the music scene is that I've always played to click tracks live. I've always played, as far as like everything on tempo, exactly like how it is, just because like personally for me, also coming from marching band, like I have a very structured like way of approaching music. So like I do believe in using like metronome and stuff like that, which some people, don't do it, like, cause like I know that like, what is like No Cure, like they don't use a click track.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, and like dude, like they kill it like every time. Like I swear to God, like they're on their level right now for a reason. But it's just, I personally like playing to a click, and so with the elements that we have in Bridewell, that it was just a matter of just me and Kevin like up in the studio, just like sitting down, thinking about like certain things to add here to like fill voids, because a lot of it, dude, we're just open chugs. Dude, that's all we are. We're just open chugs, dude. Like, if anyone wants to cover Bridewell right now, like, open chugs. Like, that's it. But, I mean, I don't know. But, like, that's just the way I've always liked it. But I also like a show that's ran very tight, so we have a time set and everything, so.
All right. Well, you already brought it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and dive into the music y'all have released. Why the name Anger Poetry? What does that mean to you?
I don't know. Like, honestly, that like I think like looking back on the idea now, it's kind of stupid. But like I don't know. But I feel like I am my own worst critic as far as all that stuff goes, because I don't know that like I think it's kind of stupid to call it that. But like I still think that like the songs and everything are there as far as like the meaning of it. Just because whenever I write in Bridewell, a lot of what I write about is usually about the things that I don't typically like act out on my daily, as far as like who I am as a person, because a lot of it is very like arrogant, angsty sounding, some of it's like some darker stuff, like probably like Bowell. Yeah, it's probably like one of our darker songs, but like, but yeah, I don't know that like I use my emotions when I'm angry or whenever I'm feeling some kind of like, or just feeling upset. Like, I don't know, like just putting that into the lyricism and basically acting on it and being a certain type of way, but doing it across music and not having to do it like confrontationally, like with someone, which granted that like, it's just how I get it out. But also at the same time, I don't care,
Right.
Like,
and that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like everybody's like, how do you listen to all this angry music? Why are you so mad? And you're like, I'm not mad because I listen to this music. Though. It's an escape. Like that's what a lot of people, I think, outside of the metal and hardcore communities don't understand. Like we have this place we can go to release all this built up tension and everything we've got in our daily lives. This is our escape. You have Anger Poetry Part 1 and Part 2. Was Part 2 always planned, or did Part 1 open the door to that?
I mean, like, I don't know, like, I was kind of going for, as far as, whenever I was presenting the idea to the guys that, like, the idea was a continuation from the first EP going into Anger Poetry Part 2. But I don't know. I think it's because, too, that like with how we've done our artwork, just how everything was displayed, I think that I like, center focused type, things like whenever it comes to like doing like, I don't know, like not to say a gimmick, but to also say a gimmick kind of thing. Cause like, because even like, we have a new song that's going to be coming out this next month. And even like the cover art that's for that, it's going to be very similar to like what we've done, but it's not going to be like with those releases necessarily, but it's going to be a similar style that like, if you see that, you're like, okay, yeah, that's a Bridewell release or whatever. But like, I don't know, like I've just had this thing where it's like having a centered, I don't know, like with photography, like, like photography has like, it has the, you can do the borders where it's just all white or all black, like how some people do that for aesthetic and stuff. I don't know. I kind of like stuff like that.
Yeah, I do that too. I mainly, and I'll tell you the dumb reason all my photographs on Instagram have the borders, and it's because I fully believe that Instagram hates real photographers. And it's not going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but I don't like to crop my images. I want to show you the full frame of the picture I took, and the only way to do that is to put it in a border on Instagram because they don't allow the correct image ratio to show you the full art.
Yeah, they've gotten a little bit better, I think, recently, where like now whenever you post something, well, I don't know, like the only thing that irks me and bothers me still a little bit is that like the way that it is where well, I mean, they have changed it where like you can post now and you can see the full photo for what it is, but then they have to adjust it, I think, based off of the first photo still. Kind of and I'm like, I don't know. That's the reason why that like I try my best to like edit our post if we're making like any kind of announcement or anything, just like trying to get it to where it all fits like together, like, or does it seamlessly. I'll put it that way.
Before we move into this next section, tell me, when did you realize that Bridewell was becoming more than just a band and it's a direction that you wanted to head?
I mean, I'll be honest, like ever since like it started, because the thing is I've been doing this like, since probably 2013, 2014, being involved in Birmingham music. And I guess at that time, like I was getting in like right whenever like, what is it like when Gideon was doing like Milestone record, like, or it was like it was between Milestone and whenever they did Calloused. It was like that era of Birmingham music, and so like with getting involved at that time, that I was in Noir, and then I moved on after that, and then eventually got into a shorter lived band, unfortunately, Avowed, because I really enjoyed being in a band with those dudes, and then when we got out of that for a little bit, I kind of took a break, but then it was kind of getting the itch again because then I got hit up by Ryan and Spencer to do Rumors. And then whenever we kind of stopped doing some stuff with that, I was just like, let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and front something and just be the head of it so it can like be pushed forward because this is what I want to do. Like, I don't like, even though of course, like I work a full-time job along with this, that at the same time that I want to be able to keep pushing, because like this is the first time in any band I've ever had a van. Like just like to be able to like go somewhere, not have to worry about a hotel, like actually be able just to like be like, hey guys, I'm gonna go sleep in the back real quick. Like got a bunk bed and everything in there. And so so like we're already doing things in this project that I haven't done before, and so like it's already kind of like starting to like go a little bit because we're also doing more this year than we've done in previous years that we haven't announced yet. But
no, and I know my lips are sealed on any details you've told me off camera, but I'm excited for y'all. It's I'm excited for y'all. I know what arguably, in my opinion, is the most popular Bridewell song. But if you had to pick one track that best represents Bridewell right now, what would that one be?
I mean, I think the two most streamed is still like a juggle between Facade and Growing Pains, I think. And I think Growing Pains was just because that like it had the most streams because when we released the LCY Uncut, that it popped off like really well on like Facebook, mostly Facebook, a little bit on Instagram, but mostly Facebook. And so like it generated a lot of streams right out the gate, like whenever that happened, because I think we had jumped to like somewhere like around like 5,000 monthly listeners or something for that short period of time.
Right.
Because we're not near that right now, but like it's just for that short period when Growing Pains released that it happened. And then with Facade, that I don't know, I think those two would be the main two that most people would probably bring up from each release, Angry Poetry Part 1 and Part 2. But that would be my personal opinion. Plus I just like the like the hi-hat, like that was my main thing with that. The synths and all the creepy shit, that was all Kevin. Like when we were sitting in the studio, he was just like, if you wanted to sound this way, let's do it like this. And I was like, okay, cool, Kevin, you fucking roll with it, bro. And then like whenever we got through with that, and then it kind of turned into like this different energy. But I don't know, but probably those two for sure.
And those two being your most popular, were those written really fast, or were they built over time? And before we got the versions that we've got on Spotify now, were they honed and you took a lot more time to fine tune them and get them right where you wanted them?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, as far as like how the process went for those songs, is that like the way that I had Growing Pains is that originally the intro of it, like the way it went into everything, with the hi-hat part I was just talking about, that it was just straight. Like there was no backing tracks, there was no nothing. It was just straight, just menace, open chugs, like all the way. Like that's all it was. And then that's whenever we sat down and got everything done with Kevin. Like I think that song actually, like as far as like getting it all like done on the production side of it, like probably got done with it in like 2 or 3 months, but also mixed in with that was probably when we were doing like everything, or the other 2 songs that was going into Part 1. But Facade, though, I'll be honest, man, like Facade, I did way better with like the rhythm of like the guitars and everything.
Right.
Except I could have done a lot better with like thinking it out, because the thing I felt like that drove that song so much was like the lead synths and everything that are going on in the background, because that like, if you really think about it, we're only playing in that whole song, I think like 2 or 3 different chords the entire time. Like, and the rest of it's all rhythm.
Hey, man, look, there's a lot of punk bands who have made a lot of money off 2 to 3 chord songs. So,
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just like, I just tell people, like, I'm just writing computer code at this point. Like, that's all I'm doing. Like, just writing computer code and making cool sounds above it. Like, this sounds awesome. Let's fucking add that shit.
Leading into this next section, one thing I'm liking to ask the guests on this, to get deep for a little second, what do you hope people feel the first time they hear Bridewell, or whenever they leave a show? Because we know, look, I mean, we can lie to people all day long. Nobody understands every lyric to the style of music we listen to. You have to go read the lyrics. So it's kind of hard to ask you what lyric do you want people to remember when they leave, but what do you want people to feel when they leave a Bridewell show?
I mean, like, I want them, like, here's my thing with going to shows, that, like, I know that a lot of bands out there, like, they have, like, certain soapboxes, because every band has one. Like, every band is passionate about one thing that they'll talk about at shows, and, that's your driving force, and that's what you want to talk about, depending on, whatever subject that is, like, you do you. My whole thing with going to shows is that, although that a lot of, like, the lyricism and, like, how we do our music, it's very angry, it's very like in your face, but like also that my thing is that at a show, though, I want just everyone to have a good time. Like, I don't want like anyone to feel out of place or uncomfortable or anything like that. And if you're bringing that energy, then you're not welcome there, because like the thing is that, I just want people just to come out, have a good time, thrive in the metal community and the hardcore community. We're not even hardcore, nu-metalcore, but hey, we're still a part of it here in Birmingham. We're, not really a hardcore band, and we don't fit in with everyone, but also at the same time that like the energy is still there of like, let's come out, have a good time, everyone be safe. If someone falls down in the pit, pick their ass up, keep the shit going. Like, but that's my whole thing going to a show, is that like, if people are coming out to watch us, I want them, of course, like obviously like it means a lot if they like the music, but like also at the same time that if anything, just like I want you to go home like having like an awesome experience. Like that's it. Yeah.
Right. And you just now said something that reminded me of a story that I like to tell people when they're asking about the metal scene and like these shows and everything. When I first started going to shows, I was very lucky. My mom was taking me to Five Points Music Hall when I was 14. She wasn't going in these shows, but she would drop me off and come pick me up after the show. And I had gotten into metal, and then I started going, and like one of the first shows I remember going to was like a Slipknot show at Five Points Music Hall. Like, man, it was
that would be wild.
That stage was crowded, and you got to remember this was the time they were still beating each other up on stage and everything. So I'm sitting here in line. It's one of the first shows I've ever gone to, like out like at a venue this size and everything, and I'm seeing all these other people around, and I'm getting scared. I don't know what a real mosh pit is, you know, like I'm like, oh, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? Like, I love this. And it's the first time I experienced like the guy I was most scared of, you know, in the pit, this big, huge 6-foot muscle man. Like I fell down, and the first thing I saw was this guy that I was most scared of grabbing my arm and jerking me back up to my feet. And that's when I realized, like, yeah, you have to be careful and protect yourself, but like you're protecting each other in this pit. And it's one thing that's always stuck with me. How would you personally describe a Bridewell set? Would you say it's controlled chaos? Is it a release valve for you and the audience, or is you just want it to be a punch in the chest?
Man, like it's a whole process, if I'm being real. Like going into like everything, because like, okay, so the thing that bands who don't run the gear that we run, okay, like we run like a rack, our stuff is simplistic at the end of the day. Like it's not that bad. Like we have it down to like something that works for us where we can like quickly get set up, going, you know, all that stuff. But you know that it's always a worry in the back of our minds that like if one thing goes wrong, like recently, like our power conditioner like went out in the rack. And so like, you know, I have to get us a new power conditioner. And because of that, you know, that we're having to plug things in separately, which makes me nervous, which we don't have any upcoming shows. So we have plenty of time to get like some of this stuff like going before we start, you know, getting more active after some of our new music and stuff starts dropping. But yeah, it's like that is a worry in the back of our minds the entire time regarding like equipment. Just like, don't fail on us now. Like this, don't do it. Even though like logically our equipment has not been altered, nothing has been touched. Like the only thing that would go wrong is just a simple like thing with just the electrical itself. Like everything else is set up. So logically, like for the most part, we're always going to be like 95% okay, you know, but you know, with that, my nerves don't fully go away really until we have plugged that thing in, they're getting signal, and then I can hear my click. Once I can put all of that combination together, dude, like the rest of it, like it is controlled chaos in the sense that like our set's timed, you know, that like we do run everything. And so like whenever I'm up there, even when I'm talking, I'm having like a countdown in my ear the entire time, you know? So like, and it's easy to ignore now, but like, you know, it's like, you know, that way it kind of helps me keep like on track with what we're doing. So that way I know when the next song is about to start. But yeah, so it's definitely controlled chaos in that sense. But then like, because you get so used to it that when you get into that rhythm of go with the flow, then that's where it gets fun. But I will say that I only get nervous up until all those things happen. But then after that, I'm solid.
Once the click's going and the tracks have started to start the set, you're good.
Yeah, after that, I'm golden, baby.
What's a hard lesson that you only learned by playing shows?
A hard lesson. So honestly, like just through like just growing pains. Hey, you know, we got growing pains as a song. We got growing pains when it comes to being a fucking musician. Like as far as like going through all of that, like I had to very much learn like when you're doing some of these like bigger opportunity shows, because like, you know, not every show is going to be the same. Like, you know, some shows are going to be like I said, you know, when we were talking earlier, like DIY hardcore,
right?
You know, or some of it's going to be more like full on production, you know, kind of like, and we got like, I guess like a mix of that when we did Gidmus, you know, back in like December, like that was kind of like a mix of like production with like what I would call DIY hardcore. And, but it's like, I've just learned that just be on your shit. Like, you know, just because like
right.
not saying that and being that like get good, but like, yeah, like get good because, you know, as far as like doing everything professionally and like doing changeovers as quickly as possible, I think like getting that stuff nailed down and just knowing, you know, everything with your equipment and how it's set up and like knowing the ins and outs. Like that's the main thing that I have issues with when I'm running sound at workplace sometimes is that like I'll get bands that are in there who don't have like a full knowledge of their own stuff. Like I think everyone would benefit having knowledge of like PAs and like how all that stuff goes together because
100%.
Because you know, so many bands go in here and they're just kind of like giving you something, expecting you to know exactly how it's routed. But I feel like if you have that back knowledge of how it should be ran to the board to help whoever's running your sound, like, cause you can do like things in various different ways when it comes to running sound. So like, that's kind of the thing is that, you know, just kind of having that knowledge and just knowing, you know, how your stuff is set up and just, I don't know, like that's the biggest thing about learning about how to like do it professionally and on a performance level is just making sure you're on your P's and Q's, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's the phrase I'd use.
And one last thing to close out this section about our local scene and the live shows is, what do you say is special about coming up in Birmingham and the Birmingham scene?
I've always told people that Birmingham has always been one of those places that like we're a city, like as far as like, you know, what is it like the state population is like between 4 and 5 million, I think right now. And so like, I've always told people that like Birmingham, technically, like when you add up all of like the surrounding like suburbs and everything of Birmingham, that we're about probably 1 million people, like between 1 million to 1.5, just when you add up all the surrounding areas. And I've always told people that it always felt like Birmingham was a bigger city, but with a small town feel. And so, and the good thing about doing that is that like when you go to a lot of shows, you see a lot of the same people,
right?
You know, because like that's kind of what helps generate that community and what helps like keep that community vibe going is that whenever everyone knows each other and everyone, you know, goes to all the same events and goes, so like, you know, granted that you could probably say that about a lot of places, a lot of cities, but it's just like because of that, it makes the city feel smaller than what it is. But like, I also like a smaller, like hometown kind of feel anyways, because like, you know, out here where we are right now, like my parents out here in Rimlap, you get a little bit of country, like that taste of it.
Right.
But you're not, but like so far away from the city where like, but I don't know. I think that's just kind of it is that like, I felt like just the family within the hardcore community is like very much more tight fit, I guess, or tight knit. That's it. Tight knit. That's the phrase. But yeah, that's what I think is that like, I think we're all very quick to support each other and to, you know, build each other up. And I think just speaking positivity into everyone, you know, within bands here in Birmingham or Huntsville or just anywhere in Alabama, that I just think that we're all very connected because of how, you know, but that's just how I feel about it.
No, and I agree 100%. Like one of the things that I've always noticed going to shows here in Birmingham, Huntsville, anywhere around here is like, you know, everybody. Like you go to shows in Atlanta, Nashville and all that, and they're slightly bigger venues. Even in the smaller venues in those cities, it's like, you know, the people you went with, but like you're not talking to everybody that's there. You go to a show at the Masquerade, you know it's going to be a phenomenal show, but you don't know 98% of these people that are there. You go to a show at Workplay, you go to a show at Trim Tab, even Avondale. I mean, you get Saturn, you get into some of these bigger venues in Birmingham, and unless it's like the new amphitheater or the Civic Center, like you're talking to half the crowd. Like everybody knows everybody, and I love that.
Yeah, no, and I think that's it too. Is just like it's like that's kind of what helps create like that support within everything, just because, you know, everyone looks out for each other. And like, hey, and that's what I tell people is that like, make friends, dude. Like, because when it comes down to doing music and everything, that like, you know, it is still business as far as like connections and stuff like that. Like, support each other, you know, build each other up. And like, honestly, like, as long as you have that mindset, dude, like, you can get anywhere with it. I mean, even though we're on a smaller level still, but like at the same time, it's just like, you know, that's the whole point of doing music, is that be supportive of the people that are making those moves and like and everything like that, because that like at the end of the day, we are all trying to do this, you know, we're all trying to make a living doing this. And so like, there's no point in hating, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, there's no point in hating. There's no point in, you know, in dissing. I think the only times that you should do that is that like, of course, like if it's for like a valid, like if in my opinion, fucked up reason, you know, depending on the band. But like if they are just trying to just do it, dude, like there's no point in hating.
No, and it's everybody starts out somewhere. You look at the first episode of this podcast. We had Kelly on from Haste, and he's come full circle now, and he's still doing amazing stuff with Long Cold Stare. And like, don't burn bridges. Like, be friends.
Don't do it.
You never know. Everybody has to start somewhere, and one of these bands that we've got in Birmingham right now will be the next thing to blow up. No Cure just did it in the past 2 years, where they blew up doing international tours, everything. So make friends with everybody, work together. The scene thrives when everybody comes together as a community. We'll start wrapping things up here. Got a few more questions for you. Bring it back to Bridewell. What's your focus right now? Is there new music, new shows, a bigger push? I know we've touched on this earlier, and all the details can't be released right now, but just vaguely, what's the focus in Bridewell right now?
So focus right now is just trying to get some of our newer stuff out, because like we do already have, like I said, music uploaded on distribution at the moment. So we are kind of waiting to put those out, but I can go ahead and say that like we are releasing a new song in February. So I will go ahead and talk about that. But like we're focusing on that right now. We have some more touring ventures and stuff that are kind of set up for like later in the year right now, because we don't have like anything that's been confirmed show wise for the next month or two. But I think honestly that like we're just kind of just more so focused on just wanting to get this newer stuff out in the meantime. And so we have a video that will be dropping with it as well. So
nice.
few things to look forward to, but that's the main focus, just the music at the moment.
Awesome. And the last section we'll do, one thing that I always like to do. It's been fun seeing where this goes. It's my rapid fire section.
Okay.
All right.
Word.
What is one band that you would love to share a bill with?
They're no longer a band, and everyone literally hears me talk about this band so much, but Sworn In would definitely be a band that I would be like, put me on that fucking bill like right now. Like, I'm not asking.
You'd
like,
be calling in every favor, every connection you've ever made.
Like, dude, like, they had something special going. Like, I don't know necessarily after Death Card, like, what they were trying to do, but, like, Death Card, that whole record, like, I would have it on repeat, dude, like, all day, every day. Like, it was just, I don't know, they were just, before their time, they were different. But yeah, no, they would be that one band for sure.
If Bridewell had a warning label, what would it be?
Warning label? God, I have to think about that one for a second. Has a warning label. Dog, like, you put me on the spot for that one. Maybe I would say maybe that I don't know, too much aggression. I don't know, or don't be a pussy. Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm just really just putting something on there, they're just right. Warning, don't be a pussy if you listen to this shit.
What is your go-to pre-show song or playlist?
Pre-show, here's the thing. Pre-show, I don't really listen to a whole lot of music on days where we're doing shows. Honestly, as far as what I do myself before we do a show, okay, this is definitely not a ritual that I advise any other vocalist to do by any means, but I'll be honest, I perform better if I've had at least 2 beers. If I seriously, if I drink just 2 regular bills, I'm not talking about tall boys. I'm not talking about, anything like that. Just 2 12-ounce cans of beer. If I have that in my system, and granted, I can't eat anything. I can't eat anything. But if I have that in my system right beforehand, I don't know what it is. I always feel like I perform better. I always feel like I'm a little bit more in the zone. I'm always granted, I know if you're straight edge and you're listening to this, don't do it. Don't do it. I support you guys. But at the end of the day, I don't know, something about it just helps me out. I don't know.
What's one band that you love that would surprise people?
One band that I love, I would say, man, I don't know. Okay, so...
Or artist, in general.
I'm going to go back to my childhood here a little bit. I'm really into Blue October, if I'm being honest. Not as much of their new stuff, obviously.
Right.
Some of their new stuff I like. And even some of their stuff after, when they were, doing, top 40 charting stuff when they did Hate Me and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're I really got into their stuff that was, early this last decade to mid this last decade that, I liked a lot of those records that were put out. And they're still really good writers. They still have, a lot of really good material. Them, I'll add one more. So this is also as far as what kind of shows a little bit more range of things that I listen to, but I do actually like things like 21 Pilots and stuff like that.
Okay,
because whenever I listened to a lot of their newer stuff, that it was just kind of more or less I respected the artistry of how that he would write. I think it's Tyler Joseph is their vocalist.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, it's I just really like the way that he constructed everything and is well thought out. So.
All right, final question, and this one doesn't necessarily have to apply to you being a front man. So just in general, what's the most unhinged thing you've ever seen in a mosh pit?
Most unhinged thing? If I'm being real, as far as just things that I've seen, this happened at 2 different shows, but I remember there was one down here at the firehouse. I remembered and I think one dude, he just took the trash can and he just chucked it into the middle, and everybody was throwing it around at this time. It wasn't just a one throw and done kind of thing. It's it just kept going the entire song, at least. I know that much. It was going around for a fucking minute. And then another similar situation happened where we did a show. I think the Spot's closed down in Orlando, the name of the venue, the Spot. But it's whenever we were there, we actually got to play there back in March and or March of this last year. And whenever we did that show, that it was another similar situation. But this person, she just took the can and just went all the way across the room with it. Pretty sure it knocked some dude completely on his ass, and then immediately started moshing after that. I don't know. I just think trash cans in general, don't keep them at shows.
Right.
It's if you want,
especially not those big Rubbermaid ones. They're going to be used.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's both times that's what we're talking about here. So yeah, no, just don't do it. If it's in the room, put it out of the room immediately. Yeah. Anything, a table, a chair. Anything.
Yeah, well, no, we learned at Furnace Fest not to have tables out because somebody's going through that thing.
Oh, yeah.
WWE style.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say thank you very much for coming on here today and doing this episode with us.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Bridewell, everything you've got your hands in. I know you're big in the scene. You run sound at Workplay when they need you and everything. So thank you for being a part of the scene, and thank you for coming on today.
Oh, yeah, man. Like I said, anytime.
Thank you, everybody. This has been episode 3 of The Breakdown, and if you're in a local band, I will be hitting you up. If you've already got time open, hit me up. We want to get you on the show. The end game of this podcast is to pack out these local rooms. I want to see every room full for every local show. Until then, stay loud, stay local, stay loyal.
Yee!